They don't build tunnels, they build empires. While the state believes it has won, they continue to reign supreme. From the Bronx to Medellín, from Kingston to Chicago, these men have written their names in blood. And even in 2025, people say, as long as they live, the cartel lives. Stay tuned until the end, because the last name on this list is not only dangerous, it stands for an entire shadow empire that has survived every attempt to destroy it to this day. Kenneth Supreme McGriff. The music, the blood, the money. In Queens, New York, a man nicknamed Supreme once ruled. Kenneth McGriff led the Supreme Team, a drug empire that brought crap to the streets in the 80s and 90s, and fear along with it. But McGriff wanted more than just street power. He tried to launder his money through the hip-hop label Murder, Inc. The music glorified crime, while crime paid for the music. He was sentenced to life imprisonment in 2007, but even behind bars, he is said to have retained his contacts and influence. His case shows that those with deep enough roots remain standing even when others fall. Rick Freeway Ross, the drug dealer who was linked to the CIA. In Los Angeles, Ricky Ross built a cocaine empire that supplied the entire West Coast. His greatest weapon? Connections to Central America. And, according to media reports, indirect contacts with the infamous Iran-Contra affair. He was considered a chess player of the streets, supplying major cities with tons of cocaine and shaping the crack epidemic. Convicted in 1996, he was later released. Today, he is an author, speaker, and a man whose name still carries weight. Big Meech and Southwest T. The BMF legend lives on. The Black Mafia family was not a street gang. It was a multinational corporation with a clear hierarchy, PR strategy, and music label. Founded by Demetrius Big Meech Flannery and his brother Terry Southwest T, BMF controlled the US-wide cocaine trade in the 2000s. Money was laundered through hip-hop events and clubs, and stars like Young Jeezy benefited from the connection. Despite prison sentences, the image lives on in music, films, and on the streets. Daryl "God" Whiting, the God of Boston. In the 1980s and 1990s, Daryl Whiting turned the Orchard Park housing project in Boston into his command center. Under his leadership, the New York Boys crew ruled the local crack trade. He ruled with violence, made millions, and terrorized rivals and police alike. In 1991, he was arrested and later sentenced to life in prison. But his influence continues to shape Boston's underworld to this day. Christopher Dudas Koch, Jamaica's invisible emperor. In Tivoli Gardens, Kingston, Dudas Koch ruled like a king. He mixed drug trafficking, weapons, and social programs. He rewarded, he punished, he created dependency. In 2010, it took Jamaica a military operation with 70 deaths to extradite him. Today, he is imprisoned in the US, but his networks and his myth live on. Raphael Edmond III, the gentleman dealer of Washington, D.C. In the 1980s, Edmond controlled much of the cocaine trade in the capital. He wore designer suits, drove luxury cars, and had direct contacts with Colombian cartels. Although he has been in prison since 1989, he is said to have continued to maintain contacts and conduct business, even from behind bars. His name stands for power with style, and for DC's dark side, Haitian Jack, the shadow of the rap world. Connections to Tupac Shakur, alleged involvement in robberies, friendships with stars, and rumors of underworld deals. Patient Jack was more than just a street gangster. He was a puppet master behind the scenes. He now lives abroad, far away from the US justice system. But those who had dealings with Jack still speak of him with respect, or not at all. Fat Cat Nichols and Supreme Team, the godfathers of Queens. Fat Cat and his partner, Kenneth Supreme McGriff, controlled the flow of drugs in New York's Queens district. Their crew is considered brutal, efficient, and well-connected. Nichols is serving a life sentence. But the Supreme legend continues to influence music, street culture, and organized crime in NYC to this day. Jemmer Jika Thompson, the crack queen of LA. In a male-dominated game, Thompson built up a huge network in the cocaine trade. She was strategic, efficient, and feared. After her arrest, she was sentenced to a long prison term. But her name lives on in the DEA files and in the stories of the West Coast. Jeff Fort and Larry Hoover, the gods of Chicago. Jeff Fort founded the El Rukins, Larry Hoover the Gangster Disciples. Both transformed street gangs into paramilitary organizations, with political influence, drug trafficking, and a religious-like structure. Both are serving life sentences, but their ideas, symbols, and structures live on in the streets of Chicago with devastating effects. Guy Fisher, from heroin boss to theater owner. As part of the council, Fisher controlled large parts of the heroin business in Harlem, but what made him special was that he bought the legendary Apollo Theater, a symbol of the connection between illegal wealth and legitimate power. Convicted in 1984, he served decades in prison, but was released in 2020 for health reasons. Whether in prison or free, dead or alive, these men have created structures that challenge the state. Their influence extends across borders, genres, and generations. They are not individual figures, they are systems. And they show that the cartel world has many faces, but none of them are harmless. Thanks for watching. Until the next chapter in the Outlaw Book.